Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're well. Thank you for joining me. I wanted to tell you a bit of a personal story with this video. Not in the news or anything like that. A couple of weeks back now, I did a video about Tony Blair when he came out with some very dismissive comments about mental health. And I kind of blew a gasket in that video. And one of the things that I divulged is that I've recently had my own mental health crisis I've had to overcome in the form of a drinking problem. When you hear someone say they have a drink problem, words like alcoholic, drunk, bum, and all that sort of thing suddenly creep in, but it's not really that straightforward. Now, before I tell you my story, I want to tell you about an organisation called the Forward Trust. It's an organisation that deals with people with addiction issues with drugs and alcohol, and these are the people that help me. I went into the doctors one day and I said, I think I've got a problem, and he had a little chat with me and forwarded me to the Forward Trust. I then had an assessment, and then it was determined, yes, maybe I have a problem. They do it's like a questionnaire, and depending on how you answer the questions, you're given a score, and the higher the score, the more inclined you may be to have a problem, which in my case I did. And then I was admitted for treatment, which was medication to help control those cravings, and 4 months of group counselling sessions, all of which were very, very effective. If anybody out there has a problem with alcohol or anything else like that, it can ruin your life. In fact, it can control your life. And by God, it controlled nearly 30 years of mine. And it's time to talk. You see, I'm 47 now, nearly. Yeah, July, 47. And this all started probably 30 years ago. I was 18, 19, I was at university. And something happened. That's how we'll put it. Something happened which completely changed my life at the time. And my answer to that was to drink a couple of whiskies. And then it turned into, well, a bottle of whiskey. And that bottle of whiskey turned into two. You can see the pattern of destruction. And I remember looking into the mirror one day, and I can still see the reflection in my mind's eye after all these years. It wasn't me looking back. And it was at that point I thought, this isn't for me. You know, I talk about university and that it wasn't for me, but mentally, where I put myself, I had to get out of that place. I had to come home and start again. And I worked as a IT systems engineer for about 13 years. Then I became a taxi driver, getting on 15 years ago. But alcohol was always a factor. I wouldn't class myself as an alcoholic. What I would class myself as is someone that never had an off button, someone that would never be happy with 1 or 2 pints down the pub on a Friday. It would always lead to 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, those of you watching this right now are probably saying, well, how can you be a taxi driver and have a drink problem and get away with it? Well, there's one thing that we'll call it alcohol use disorder. That's a way of putting it. It's a problem with the consumption of alcohol. One thing that we're very good at is pre-planning when we're going to have a drink. And I used to look at my calendar. I used to do this when I was an IT technician as well, and I used to think, right, I'm going to have a drink here, and if I can get away with not working the next day, or I've got a day off, then I would drink myself into oblivion, and this would happen more and more and more. And I would always make sure that I was ship-shape and Bristol fashion and ready to go when required. I never, ever, ever let it interfere with any of my businesses or jobs or anything like that. It was like a devil that used to sit on my shoulder and make me misbehave. Well, this happened all through my 20s, and it really affected my life. And I do wonder whether any of this is ringing true with anybody. And it governed my life, because all I did was just functioned. I just did what was necessary to get by in life and look forward to my next drink. Well, it got to the point where I met my now wife and set up home together and everything else, and it helped for a time, but it was still there. And I would continue to plan when I would have a drink, and obviously went forward, had kids, everything else, and your son shaking you, saying, come on daddy, let's go now. And you were hungover from your session the night before. And I reached a point and I thought, I'm not getting any younger, and if I carry on like this, I'm not going to see my grandkids. I'm not quite sure what happened, but something went snap in my head, an event, something like that, and I thought, I've got to sort this out. So that's where the Forward Trust came in. And there's one thing that you have to do, and it's very important. You have to admit you've got a problem, because nothing works, nothing starts until you admit you've got a problem, and then you go do something about it. And then the next thing they tell you is forgiveness. You have to identify what happened and how you let it happen, and somehow forgive yourself for it. And once you forgive yourself, you can move on. September the 15th, 2024, was the last time I had a drink, and I'll never drink again. And by God, I forgive myself. It's been a hell of a journey from the start to end, nearly 30 years. And you think of all the excuses. I drink because I'm stressed, it helps. I have a drink because it chills me out. I have a drink because it helps me sleep. Do you know, one of the basic things is that when you drink to excess, it's like a fog that falls over your head. And what you don't realise is the drink actually robs you of your ability to deal with life properly. Work, family, finances, social stuff, anything that comes up in life. You know, I, in the background, and you'll never know this watching me, I used to be quite a short-tempered, angry person. Not all the time. I could be quick to fly off the handle. And that was drink. Ever since I stopped, I've become very much calmer as a person. I can deal with things in a more rational manner. I'm no longer stressed. I see everything in a lot more clarity than I ever did previously. And it's all because of my willingness to do something about it and my interaction with the Forward Trust. Many people have a problem for years. Many people it kills. Don't let you be another statistic. If you need help, look deep down inside, admit it to yourself, and then go get it. There is light at the end of the tunnel, and a lot of us need that right now, particularly with the way this country's going. Anyway, that's my story, just to fill in the gaps. I've been thinking long and hard about doing this, and I thought, what the hell, let's get it done. Anyway, thank you for listening. I appreciate all the support. 126,000 subscribers. Never would have thought that a few years ago. Met some great people on here. Really appreciate everything you do, all your comments. I mean, it's marvellous. We've built up a good community here. Anyway, I'm off. Have a look at these videos. Do the necessary with the right buttons. And I look forward to talking to you soon. Toodaloo.